everyone, welcome back to Travel Secrets with TV's Dave Galvin. Today we're going to tackle a question that has sparked countless debates amongst travelers over these years. Are cruises actually worth it? If you spend any time around travelers, you've probably noticed that people tend to have very strong opinions about cruises. Some travelers absolutely love it. They take one cruise and immediately start planning the next one before they're even unpack their suitcase. Sometimes they actually plan their next cruise while on the cruise ship. The cruise lines have a little office sitting right there for you to get a discount on your next cruise. Others try it once and then they just decide it's really not for them, claiming they'd rather spend their vacation exploring destinations on land. So who's right? Well, as with most travel questions, the answer depends entirely on what you're looking for in a vacation. So let's start by examining why cruises have become so popular every year. Millions of travelers choose cruise vacations, and that popularity isn't happening by accident. Cruises offer something that a lot of traditional vacations just can't match, and that's convenience. Think about everything involved in typical multi-city vacations. You're constantly packing, you're unpacking, you're checking in and out of hotels, arranging transportation, and trying to figure out where you're going to eat every single day. On a cruise line, a lot of that just kind of disappears. You unpack once, you settle into your cabin, and your hotel room is basically traveling the world with you. So you're going to sleep in one destination, you're waking up in another without ever touching your suitcase. That's a huge part of the appeal. Whether you're sailing through the Caribbean, Alaska, or the Mediterranean, or even the rivers of Europe, the ship you're on is going to handle all the logistics while you just focus on relaxing. For a lot of travelers, that level of simplicity does make cruising attractive. Of course, convenience is not the only reason people cruise. Cost is a major factor. When you plan a traditional vacation, you're usually paying separately for airfare, hotels, meals, entertainment, and so on and so forth. And everything kind of adds up quickly. Cruises bundle a lot of these costs into a single package, which often creates the perception of a better value. However, this is where many first-time cruisers will get surprised. Cruise lines are masters of advertising attractive prices, but the fare you see on the advertisement is generally not the total amount you're going to spend. Once on board, you're going to discover specialty restaurants, you got drinks packages, and of course shore excursions, the spa treatments, the internet package, and all the other optional extras. None of these are necessarily bad purchases, but they can add hundreds or even thousands to your final bill if you're not careful. The good news is that with a little planning and realistic expectations, cruises can still provide excellent value, particularly for families and travelers who enjoy having most of their vacation costs bundled together. And yes, you are hearing my cat meow outside our front door. Another factor that attracts people to cruising is the sheer amount of entertainment available on board. Modern cruise ships have evolved far beyond just floating hotels they once were. Today's ships, they offer Broadway-style productions. They got live music, comedy, water parks, casinos, cooking demonstrations, trivia contests, countless other activities. Some ships are so huge, they pack with these kinds of amenities that you would spend an entire week on board and never experience everything that's available. Believe me, that's happened. That variety is one reason cruises appeal to such a broad range of travelers, from families with young children to retirees looking for a relaxing getaway. So no vacation style is actually perfect, and cruises certainly have their downside. One of the biggest complaints people have involves crowds. Many modern cruise ships carry thousands of passengers, and during busy times, the pools are going to become crowded and the buffets have huge lines, and finding a deck chair is going to feel like a competitive sport. If your ideal vacation involves solitude and complete tranquility, well, the larger cruise ships may not be your perfect match. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about cruising is that every cruise is essentially the same. If you've never cruised before, it's easy to assume that a ship is a ship and that every cruise vacation offers roughly the same experience. In reality, that's like saying every hotel is the same because it has beds. The difference between cruise experiences can be enormous. For example, imagine two travelers. The first books a 3-night party cruise to the Bahamas during spring break. The second books a 14-night luxury cruise through the Mediterranean. Both people are technically taking a cruise vacation, but their experiences may have almost nothing in common. One traveler might spend most of their trip around crowded pool decks, loud music, and packed bars. The other may spend their days enjoying fine dining, cultural excursions, and quiet evenings watching the sunset from a private balcony. This is important because whenever someone tells me they hated cruising, my first question is always, what cruise did you take? More often than not, they had one specific experience and assumed all cruises were the same. The reality is that the cruise lines target very different audiences. Some are designed for families, such as Royal Caribbean. Some kind of focus on luxury travelers. Others cater to retirees, adventure seekers, or budget conscious vacationers. Finding the right cruise line is often more important than choosing the actual destination. Another factor that doesn't get discussed enough is the psychological appeal of cruising. Modern life is exhausting. Most people spend their days just making decisions. What should I eat? Where should I go? What should I do next? Which restaurant should I choose? Which attraction is worth visiting? And by the time people start their vacation, they're already drained. Cruises eliminate much of that decision making. Your accommodations are handled, the transportation is handled, entertainment is available without additional planning, food is available almost around the clock. For many travelers, that simplicity creates an unexpected sense of relaxation. You don't really realize how much mental energy you're spending on logistics until someone actually takes care of all that for you. Of course, there are travelers who view the exact same convenience as a disadvantage. Some people travel because they want spontaneity. They enjoy wandering through side streets, discovering local restaurants, and changing plans on a whim. And for those travelers, the structure of a cruise can sometimes feel restrictive. When the ship leaves port at 5 o'clock, it leaves at 5 o'clock. There's no deciding to stay an extra day because you fell in love with a destination. When you're out of there, you're out of there. And this leads us to another important question. Are you looking for a destination-focused vacation or a vacation-focused vacation? And those sound familiar, but they're actually very different. A destination-focused traveler wants to immerse themselves in a place. They want to understand the culture, interact with locals, and spend enough time to feel connected to the destination. A vacation-focused traveler is primarily just looking to relax, unwind, and sort of enjoy themselves, with destinations serving as a bonus. Cruises tend to excel at the second type of travel. Well, let's talk about food for a minute, because food is one of the biggest selling points of cruising. Most cruise lines provide an impressive variety of dining options, buffets, dining rooms, pizza counters, and so forth. For some travelers, the ability to enjoy multiple meals without constantly worrying about the bill can be very appealing. However, cruise food can also be one of the most overhyped aspects of this experience. Is it good? Sometimes. Is it the best food you will ever eat? No. Some luxury cruise lines offer exceptional dining experiences, but on many mainstream ships, the food is designed to satisfy thousands of passengers with different tastes. It's often good, but not necessarily extraordinary. Then there's the shore excursions. This is where cruising can become either amazing or disappointing depending on how you approach it. Some travelers never leave the ship and are perfectly happy to do so. Others view every port as an opportunity for adventure. I've spoken with travelers who've gone dog sledding in Alaska and explored ancient ruins in Greece, snorkeled in the Caribbean, and ridden camels in North Africa, all because of cruise excursions. The key is understanding that these experiences often become the memories you're going to talk about later. Very few people return home talking about the buffet. They talk about the glacier they saw, the village they visited, or the incredible local guide who showed them around a city. If you're cruising, don't overlook the value of what happens off the ship. Another hidden reality of cruising involves expectations. The happiest cruisers aren't necessarily the ones who spend the most money. They're usually the ones who understand exactly what they're buying. Problems often occur when people expect a cruise to be something that it's not. A cruise is not the same as spending 2 weeks exploring Tuscany. It's not the same as backpacking through Europe. It's not the same as renting a villa in Hawaii. It's its own type of vacation, which with its own strengths and its own weaknesses. The thing about going to a port on a cruise is you are simply getting a taste of the local culture. You are not there to experience everything. You don't have the time for that. It's just not going to happen. You're getting a taste to see whether you like that place or not. If you do, you can fly back there anytime you want and visit it on your own without the cruise. When people understand strengths and weaknesses, they're far more likely to enjoy themselves. Cruises offer convenience, entertainment, value, and variety. They offer the opportunity to see multiple destinations without repeatedly packing and unpacking and getting on a train or anything. They provide a level of simplicity that many travelers find refreshing. At the same time, they involve crowds, schedules, and limited time in port. Whether those trade-offs are worth it depends entirely on what you want from your vacation. And that's really the answer to today's question. Are cruises worth it? Well, for the right traveler, they can be one of the best vacation valuables available. For the wrong traveler, they can feel restrictive and disappointing. The trick isn't deciding whether cruises are good or bad. The trick is figuring out whether cruising matches your travel personality. I'm actually currently planning a cruise right now for April of 2027 for my wife and I. It's literally a 12-day repositioning cruise from Miami to England with 2 stops at Bermuda and the Azores. This is a 12-day cruise that costs less than $750 per person. It's an insane value that you get, and it gets us out of town for 2 weeks, and we get to have a vacation and let our hair down and enjoy ourselves. We don't have to worry about all the little detail. We just have to worry about flying from Portland, Oregon to Miami, where the cruise will take off, and then flying back from England back to Portland, Oregon. That's actually going to cost us more than the actual cruise itself. I do recommend you try cruising at least once or twice. The first time I went cruising, I didn't particularly like it at all. I was on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas, and the food was terrible. I mean, I lost weight. I lost weight on the cruise. But then my wife scheduled another cruise for us, and I actually enjoyed myself more on the Liberty of the Seas, I believe it was. Enchantment of the Seas. There we go. And I actually enjoyed it much more. The food was better. The ship was less busy. We enjoyed ourselves very much. And I've been a cruise lover ever since. So that's my opinion on the matter. Well, thank you for joining us this Thursday. We look forward to seeing you next week on a brand new episode of Travel Secrets with TV's Dave Galvin. Have a great weekend.